Hey, fantasy football maniacs, it's Scott Gulbransen with Sportsnaut.com. It's time for our NFL Week 2 Start 'em or Sit 'em for your fantasy football team. So buckle up and let's go. We start with the quarterbacks. Mack Jones of the New England Patriots. Jones had a big game against a top 5 defense of the Eagles, throwing for 316 yards with 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. Jones was the second highest scoring fantasy quarterback right behind Tua, and Jones gets the Dolphins this week, the team that gave up 3 weeks worth of yards to the Chargers in week 1. If Mack Jones is on your roster, we say start him. Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals. Burrow had his worst game as a pro in Cleveland last week and still seems a bit out of sync after missing all of training camp with an injured calf. He gets his first home game of the season, but the rust is still there, and the Baltimore Ravens roll into Paycor Stadium, making it a difficult task to get back on track. If you have Joe Burrow on your roster, we say sit him. Now to the running backs. James Cook, Buffalo Bills. Cook didn't have a big game on Monday night, but he was also playing a top 2 defense in the Jets. This week, he gets a Las Vegas Raiders defense that gave up 134 total yards to Broncos running backs, including Javonte Williams and Samaje Perine. That included 93 rushing yards on 21 attempts. James Cook is going to cook against the Raiders. If you have James Cook, we say start him. Kyron Williams of the Los Angeles Rams. Williams had a nice day against Seattle, rushing for 86 yards and 1 touchdown in week 1, but the Rams have to face the vaunted 49ers defense in week 2 that yielded just 31 yards to Najee Harris of the Steelers in week 1. If you have Kyron Williams, we say sit him. Let's go wide and look at which receivers to start and which to sit. Brandon Aiyuk, San Francisco 49ers. Aiyuk was a fantasy stud in week 1, and we don't think that changes in week 2. Aiyuk caught all 8 of his targets for 129 yards and 2 touchdowns, finishing as the second best fantasy receiver. In week 2, he faces a Rams defense surprised the masses last week against Seattle. We're just not seeing this unit being able to duplicate that against the 49ers attack come Sunday afternoon in Los Angeles. If you have Brandon Aiyuk, we say start him. CeeDee Lamb of the Dallas Cowboys. Lamb is a great fantasy receiver, don't get us wrong, but going against Sauce Gardner and that Jets defense doesn't bode well for CD. Also worth mentioning, the Cowboys offense did not look good in their blowout win over the Giants. Dak Prescott was meh, and we don't see it changing just yet. If you have CeeDee Lamb, we say sit 'em. All right, well, there you have it. The Sportsnaut Start 'em or Sit 'em for Fantasy Week 2 in the NFL of the 2023 season. Good luck to everybody out there. It's dangerous out on those fantasy football streets, so do us a favor. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. After you do that, important step here, hit the notifications bell. That way, every time we have a new video available, you're going to know. And you'll be the first one to know, so we appreciate that very much. Also, make sure you share the video with anybody you know looking for some good fantasy football advice. For Sportsnaut.com, I am the best fantasy football GM in the history of mankind, Scott Gulbransen. Take care, everybody.